let's get to The Witch. I've had a lot of conversations this week about people who've been interested in seeing The Witch. The trailer is very creepy and unnerving. Let's see if we can recommend it or not. Ryan, The Witch.
So The Witch is directed by Robert Eggers. It's his first directing and first writing credit. Basically, it's in the 17th century, and in 1630 we've got a man called William, played by Ralph Ineson, who is famously Finchy from The Office. Him and his family have been excommunicated from a Puritan Christian plantation in New England. His family include Catherine, played by Kate Dickie, who's also in Game of Thrones. It's just sort of making a living up being the hysterical mother, the crazy mother, the hysterical mother, and their children Thomason, Caleb, and twins Mercy and Jonas. They are exiled. They are settled at a sort of plantation place by a forest. And one day, Catherine has another child, and one day Thomason is playing with the baby, and there's actually a witch steals it, and thus beginning the torment where the family slowly tears itself apart from the inside with fear and mistrust. Now, it's sort of there's a lot of sort of age-old concepts in The Witch. It's no sort of inspiration from one source. There's a lot of inspirations from all sort of classic witch tales, the concepts of black magic and witchcraft and possession. And it's a very, very intimate film, and the place where the family sets up is right by that an extremely imposing forest. There's that shot in the trailer where it's like, that was like the 2001.
You're alright, Ryan. You had a stroke.
Yeah, I'm fine. But it's like a really imposing forest, and from the get-go, the film shows the forest like really beautifully. I mean, there's some amazing shots that make the family seem really minuscule by comparison, and that's helped by the soundtrack, which is just as eerie and haunting and just as imposing as everything that we see on the screen. And it might be one of my favourite horror soundtracks of all time. But obviously if it weren't ruined by certain people, but we're over that now.
We're over it.
But for a first time as well, the direction's very patient, and it helps build the tension completely in terms of its actuality as a horror film. But the scares aren't outright scares in terms of what is now expected, because instead it's a more pure and psychological piece, and it will make you feel very, very uncomfortable, because it really does get under your skin. It's probably one of the hardest 15s that I've ever seen. There's some horrendously visceral moments, some scenes, some implied. Like one
it was
in
15?
particular. Yeah, 15.
Damn, 15,
some of the scenes in particular just really, really... I'm still thinking about them right now. And that overall tone and the themes that the film explores, they really leave you thinking and jolted as you leave the cinema. And not just the people that are sat around you.
We've got to rise above it, man. We've got to
rise above it.
We're better than that.
I mean, the story's completely expertly woven and paced really superbly. It's really well done by Robert Eggers. Did this win an award at Sundance?
He got Best Director, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Which is incredible for a first time.
Really,
it really captured the imagination at Sundance.
The story's really perfectly paced. I mean, everyone in the cast gets the moment. Anya Taylor-Joy, especially, as Thomason steals the show.
She's American as well.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, American Argentinian, something like that. She's got a weird mix.
But yeah, she's certainly not from the Yorkshire accent that she puts on in this film,
fantastic.
which is very, very good. I thought she was.
She's constantly bringing like just pure terror to the piece, which is like better than like it's the perfect antidote really to sort of the scream queens that we usually get in like horror films, like whose one key attribute is just to scream the house down when the certain scary moment happens. Really good to see. And Harvey Scrimshaw too is Caleb, just like the curious teenager who's sort of peaking in puberty. And there's one scene in particular that stands out as really powerful thematic filmmaking and just genuinely horrifying, because it's really, really, I think you know what I mean. Yeah, that certain scene. But I think what's implied is certainly the Witch's biggest strength, because it's sort of a don't show and won't show, rather tell, and then it switches like near the end, because it really does, like I said, really expertly paced, and it constantly makes you wonder just how much evil's actually influencing the events and just how evil the family themselves might be. But I mean, for some horror films as well, they're overly ambiguous, and this film is refreshingly open at points to its nature. And it's a really, really hugely assured debut by Robert Eggers.
Agree.
I'd recommend it, absolutely.
It's obvious to see why some horror fans aren't enjoying The Witch. It's slow, but worth it. I think if you're a horror fan, like if you're a proper horror fan, then you'll like this. If you kind of like the jump scare stuff, you're probably going to be bored senseless.
Probably, no. I think
it's an investment, but it's well worth your time.
It's worth mentioning that the dialogue's a bit impenetrable at times, because the family do speak in sort of religious scriptures.
Yeah,
but that adds to the authenticity, doesn't it?
I didn't find it too difficult. I mean, I heard some reviews saying it was pretty impenetrable, but I didn't find it too bad. I got the idea from kind of what was going on the screen, which was horrifying from the first minute to the last.
And interestingly as well, A24, the production company, actually approached a spokesperson for the non-theist Satanic Temple, and they said that that film might be of interest to the members, even though they didn't ask for an endorsement. But the Satanic Temple then wanted to actually endorse the film and actually started a tour for it, and they said the film would signal a call to arms for a satanic uprising.
Cool.
And they actually started a website where the people can register themselves on the Book of Satan. So there you go.
There you go.
Well done, Robert Eggers.
Well done.
Not that we're encouraging that, but there you go. The Witch. It's in cinemas now. It's on at the Tyneside and at the Empire in Sunderland. Is it fair to say that this is a recommend?
Yeah.
Yes.
But try and sit as isolated as you can. Try not to sit next to somebody or near somebody.
Certain scenes will appear boring.
Yeah.
If I felt bored at certain scenes because all the the moments dripping with tension that should be dripping with dread.
Yeah.
I didn't feel because of the people in front. So thank you for ruining my experience.
Cheers. Hopefully this kind of thing doesn't happen again. If it does, of course we'll shame them like this today. But
it's a good film, The Witch, because I've seen people say that it's not overtly scary, but just really creepy, and it really gets a sense of evilness that many films can't do.
Don't take Snapchats.
Yeah.
Don't speak like idiots.
No.
It's pretty fun.
It's quite obvious what's happening on screen. You don't
loud.
need to explain to the person next to you as if they're 4 years old. This is a 15. Come on. That's The Witch. It's a very easy recommend. But I'd quite like to see it again, just because.
Yes, I would.
This was ruined. I saw an interesting Reddit post this week about somebody who was saying that he's just started going to the cinema on his own, and it's sort of changed everything. From going with people that kind of chatted on or used their phones, he's kind of just nothing but the film, which is brilliant. I mean, when we saw It Follows, that was full immersion, wasn't it? Because it was just us in the room, and it was good.
Yeah,
that was actually really refreshing to have a horror film with no one else in.
I don't understand the stigma with going to the cinema alone.
No, I think it's fine. I've only been once on my own before to see How to Train Your Dragon, just because nobody else would go.
The last time I went was Alan Partridge.
The last time I went was Heel Seas, but one of the best I've had is easily the Raid 2, when it was literally just me and 3 other people, and I was right at the back, and I just saw everything. It was
amazing.
No interruptions or anything. Perfect.